Hi, guys. Welcome to yet another episode of Beyond Talks. Today, I'm joined by my co host and my friend Bhuvan. Hi, Bhuvan. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Raghav. Hello, everyone.
Bhuvan, we have been speaking political topics for the last at least 1 month, if I remember, because we started with the Sonam Wangchuk protest and then how the BJP is going to survive this. And then we moved to the reservation. So each week there's been some topic which is of nation's interest. And we spoke last week that, okay, let's stop politics for some time and focus on some other generic topics. But no, the world doesn't let us move away as of now. Multiple things happened in this last 3-4 days. One, the Jharkhand protest has taken a lot of interest among the people, because the people protesting here are actually students and not the anti-nationals
No,
who
no
were
foreign
visible.
funding, right?
Yeah, yeah.
No Swiggy, Zomato orders from abroad.
Nothing. Even people who got 299 out of 300 are not getting any India jokes apart. So this is the sad reality of things happening in Jharkhand. Let's wait for another few days to see where it goes. But we just request the government to, look into this matter and how they invested their time for the anti-national protest. Likewise, they would do something for the actual student protest, which is happening in Jharkhand. But there's some other issue which is brewing right now. The FCRA bill, which is going to be passed soon, the Amendment Act of 2026. So we see a few people getting agitated when they hear that this is going to happen. It would be nice if we take up that topic and discuss on it further to delve on its history and why it is important for India to proceed with this bill as of today. And is there any hidden agenda behind this?
Yes, Raghav. FCRA, that is nothing but Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, was introduced way earlier in the year 2010. There was another bill passed, and now there is an amendment. So, bill is something which is still discussed in the House, and then once they have the majority, then once it is passed, it becomes an act. So, before that, we want to go a little bit back. Why do we need this sort of foreign funding to India? That is a thing which we need to understand. We need to travel 60 years back when we were not debating back then is the foreign funding required or not. We were one of our lowest low where famine was rampant. It was mid of 1960s. Uh,
Mhm.
there was a act where US government supported India by providing wheat. There were a lot of shortage, and it literally the phrase was ship to mouth that came into the picture because our reserves were so depleted. As soon as the stock came from the ship via America, it used to get over. And this was introduced by President Eisenhower a long time back in the mid of 1950s. But then President used this tactics to try to leverage position. He started releasing the food very slowly. The grain
Mm.
started coming to India very slowly. So they didn't want just to help, but there were strings attached to it. They wanted to have agriculture reforms. They wanted to have more say in what is happening. India back then learned a lesson. You need to strengthen your agriculture. You need to introduce modern farming. They had seeds which were invented for to stay longer, for better irrigation system.
Mhm.
There were green revolution was happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward, we are in a wonderful state where we are self-sufficient. We are exporting a lot of our grains to a lot of foreign countries. So this is one of the story where we were relying on the funding. Very recently, last year, there was a very big US agency which was completely shut down. That was USAID. So USAID, there is a accusation from a lot of countries, Venezuela, Paraguay, uh, Cuba, all these countries, they influence their domestic politics. They played a role. They are considered to be humanitarian. They try to take care of things, but that was not the case. Even in India, they had supported a lot of NGOs. They had supported uh, a lot of work where exactly it was not known for what was required. So India has taken a stand. We welcome foreign funding, but we did not welcome foreign influence. That's where it stands right now. And that's why this FCRA bill is so important.
Yeah, you touched upon key topics. So green revolution is a topic on its own. And then you spoke about USAID, which is a topic in itself. Like nothing about USAID is for charity or any other help. You can
There's
say
no
that
free
blatantly
lunch.
on, yeah, like USAID is simply agenda money to push their narratives, to push their ideologies into a country. So it's funded by George Soros and Jaishankar, our foreign affairs, external affairs minister. He has spoken about him. So this is a huge ecosystem which was stopped by Trump when he took oath last year. That around 1,500 to 2,000 crores has come into India through this USAID in the last until 2014. No, that was the case. So yeah, this is a topic on its own. But let's stick on to this FCRA for now. Like you said, it was introduced in the 1960s. One amendment happened in 2010. One more happened in 2020, and another one is going to happen now. So this is why it has come back into limelight now. And what exactly is going to happen is they are going to introduce a government advisory agent or another additional layer of control is going to be introduced. So any funding which is channelized through foreign agencies will be scrutinized by these agents, or whether it's an individual or whether it's an organization, we don't know, but it's a government body. It could be an individual also, and they're going to regulate this pretty strictly. And that's why you see people who are protesting against this are mostly the leftist ecosystem. We will focus more on who exactly are protesting right now. But I want to talk a bit more about on the amendment bill that's going to get passed. So this is one thing. Apart from this, few more, the imprisonment term for any violation has been reduced, which is actually a good thing for people who are planning to, violate this in some way. It has come down from 5 years to 1 year. So I don't know why they did that. It's like there is some check and balance here and there. This could be, we can talk for it, we can talk against it, we can debate on it, but this is where it stands right now.
Yeah, Raghav, very valid points. And you must be wondering why a US congressman has criticized this bill. What is happening in India?
Yeah,
Expressing
I was
concern.
actually about to. I wanted to give a separate segment for this guy, but yeah. Anyway, you started it, so please go ahead.
So those comments are, they say it is not the official position of the US government, but it is his individual thoughts. But somehow it doesn't add up, and it has triggered a wide debate across why about this foreign funding and sovereignty. So any government, they can take measures to have their security beefed up, to have their sovereignty, right? Why is the foreign funding a big issue? Now, you can have a lot of parallels. You look at a country like Japan, they are really forward in many things, but somehow they have a partner. They have married to US. In fact, US has written a lot of constitution, protecting their rights. So when you have these kind of foreign funding, you look at what has happened, how China takes over a country. It is exploitation. A country like Sri Lanka, it had built a port, which we had already discussed, and then now they've taken it. So, what their modus operandi has been like, you go there with your big fat check, you give them, and they will not be, in a position to repay it. You take over. That's how it has been happening. But US, on the other hand, it might portray it is doing something for humanitarian basis to develop the infrastructure of the country, so many things. But the real agenda is very different, to have the power where it's unimaginable. You can see that it is trying to, going against a superpower. You would like to have America as your friend, but you will never become a superpower if you have such kind of friend. That is a sad
Yeah.
truth in this. So this bill, which is, supporters, they find like the loopholes have been closed. The naysayers, they are against government. They feel that government is taking too much power. So we should understand, Raghav, what does this FCRA bill do actually? So your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So let's now. I want to talk about the naysayers. That's where it gets interesting. First is the US, then Pakistan, then the entire left ecosystem, starting from Congress, all the leftist parties that will include DMK as well. Obviously, they are busy getting their son out of jail at this point, but yeah, they will also be there. And also don't forget the Islamic institutions in India. They play a big part because we focus only on the Christian missionaries in this, but we forget the main players. The Christian missionaries or the Christian players in India account for maybe 35% of the overall NGOs or the foreign funding that comes in. The other is the Islamic side, which we don't focus on. It gets funneled through Kerala into the country, Kerala, UP, JK, and other places. So you see, the entire northeast belt is a Christian belt where this money plays a big part, and places like Goa, and Kerala is like a hub for both Christianity and Islam in India, and Tamil Nadu is prominently Christianized in that way through the seaways, the missionaries. They are able to exert their dominance here. So this bill it exerts some kind of check on these institutions. You just can't bring random unaccounted money into the country like that. Now focusing on the congressman, the US congressman, he deserves a special mention. What he said was, if this bill gets passed, it's an attack on the minorities of India, that is Christians. He focused only on Christians. It's an attack on their rights, number one. Second thing is, if this continues, there could be trouble in the bilateral ties between India and US. I don't think it's the US talking. I think it's the deep state which is controlling the US that is talking. It's clearly visible. Because that has happened, we can say, okay, there is something good that's going to happen out of this bill. But is that it? Is there something behind this? Any advantage for the ruling government also? We need to focus on that angle as well. Before I want to give my closing thoughts on that, I want to hear something from you on this.
Raghav, welcome this bill, to be very honest. The reason is, what does the bill say? Let us be very clear in that. When you have an institution which has received foreign funding, it could be crores, it could be lakhs, it could be anything. And let's say it becomes defunct, it stops receiving. Then what happens to the institution? It shuts down, right? Then what happens to the money which has been pumped in? There's no accountability. So that's where government will appoint a designated authority who will take over, who will oversee it. Again, it is till the entity renews its license. So when do they come into power? When they lose their license, when it is expired, or when doing something illegal which makes them invalid. Yeah, these are the reasons which oversee this. Now, when you have a system which is beefing up your security, like I mentioned before, what is wrong in welcoming this? I don't see a reason why any opposition party should be against this. It is strengthening your thing. And government, if they portray that it is taking too much, it's using excessive power, I don't think so. If you follow the rules, the norms, and you are provided with the license, when you have the license, you operate. That's how it works. It is to make sure it doesn't get into wrong pockets. That is the goal. So this is a very welcome move, and I'm openly supporting this. It doesn't matter. It is BJP or anyone for that matter. You keep your country above anything else. So these are my thoughts, and I would love to understand what is the reason for opposing this.
Okay, my concern here is not with the leftist ecosystem who are protesting against this. That's their job. They are anti-nationals. They are bound to do that. The thing is, BJP amended this in 2020 once. We need to understand that why. There was some issue with Vedanta Group giving money to the government at that time. And the Supreme Court passed some order saying it's a foreign money and it's not accounted properly, something like that. I'm not sure. After that only, BJP actually amended the 2020 FCRA bill, where it says, although the majority shares are abroad, if the company has offices in India, it can be considered as an Indian company. That was some change which happened. Now, coming to the 2026 amendment, if it passes, it gives the government more rights over these institutions. That is a positive thing. But we don't know whether it will happen transparently. That's where my concern lies, because we have known BJP has not been transparent in a lot of issues in the past. We can openly say BJP is still in power and will continue to be in power because Congress is the opposition. So as long as Congress is there, nobody can defeat the BJP. But BJP has to take accountability for a lot of things. We have touched upon this in a couple of previous videos as well. And I continue saying this. We should not celebrate it too early. Yes, something good will happen out of this. At the same time, this government has shown us in the past that they can be trusted entirely as well. So we should be a bit more skeptical about it. And because once they convince us that, okay, this bill is going to stop all the conversion activities that happen, the people will stop looking at it. And that's where the political game can get very nasty. You don't know what's happening behind the screen. So that's my concern here. But yeah, let's see. For now, this bill is going to get passed, and I hope the anti-national elements get beaten down in some way. At least something good happens out of it, because you can't expect 100% positive result from everything. So yeah, on that note, let's call curtains on this episode. Thank you so much for joining me, Bhuvan, today. And guys, please let us know in the comments your thoughts, and do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.